Hi, everyone, I'm Dan Abrams, and this is Court Camp.
Ready to take your place?
I'll kill all you. I hope you die first as well.
And cut up their bodies, sever their heads, their arms, and their legs.
First up, we're in Springfield, Massachusetts, where the last of 3 co-defendants is about to learn his fate for his role in a gruesome triple homicide. That man is Caius Veiveze. The defendant's bizarre appearance, including implanted devil horns and satanic facial tattoos featuring the numbers 666, drew media attention with the release of this mugshot at the time of his arrest. Veiveze was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and witness intimidation. According to the prosecution, Veiveze helped Adam Hall and another accomplice, David Chalou, kidnap, torture, and murder 3 men. One was scheduled to testify against Adam Hall in an upcoming trial, and the other 2, according to police, were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that wasn't all.
Each of the 3 men's heads, arms, and legs were cut off, and that the torsos of David Glasser and Ed Frampton were cut in half in the middle. After they had cut David Glasser's head off, he held it out, laughed, and made jokes about how ugly he looked.
Both Adam Hall and David Chalou were found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Now, after a 3-week trial, Caius Veiveze is also found guilty on all counts. And the newly convicted murderer has a message for the jury.
I'll see you all in hell, so we remember that. Every one of you, I'll see you in hell.
3 days later, Veiveze is back in the courtroom for sentencing, and when given a chance to speak, he proclaims his innocence.
Let me make this clear one more time before I sit down. My hand was not in this, right? My hand wasn't in this. But if anybody thinks I'm going to hang my head today and beg for mercy, they're just as deluded in their thinking as that jury of my peers who convicted me of this.
Caius Veiveze was then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for his involvement in the grisly murders of the 3 men. A later appeal of the case was denied by the Massachusetts Supreme Court. Veiveze's 2 co-defendants were also... Next, we head to Rochester, New York for a probation hearing. The defendant, Judge Leticia Astasio, is usually behind the bench, not in front of it. Almost a year and a half earlier, she was charged with DWI, a misdemeanor, while on her way to work. She was found guilty and sentenced to a year of probation. She also agreed to show up for court appearances, abstain from using alcohol, and use an interlock device on her car. But there was one small problem. She missed a scheduled court appearance, a violation of her probation because she was in Thailand. She soon headed back to the U.S. When she returns, she's placed in custody. Later brought before Judge Stephen Aronson to explain herself.
I was not drinking, and I was not driving, and so I anticipated that I wouldn't be in this position again, but here I was.
In the most respectful possible way, I'm in jail. This court cannot punish me any more than it has. My reputation cannot be any more tarnished than it has been.
But tears aren't what the judge is looking for.
Nowhere in your presentation did I hear one word of remorse or contrition for the acts that you were found guilty of.
He increases Astasio's probation from 1 to 3 years, which her attorney argues will be meaningless since Astasio won't stick to the terms.
Judge, she's not going to probation. She will violate probation. The moment you put her on probation.
What she wants, Mr. Young, is irrelevant. She will be sentenced to probation. She will be having someone monitor her in the future.
The judge extends Astasio's probation. But that's not all. He also sentences her to 60 days in jail. This gets the attention of someone in the gallery, Astasio's daughter, who is not pleased.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
saying?
Estasio's taken to jail. But the story is not over. 3 months later, Estasio's arrested twice. Once for leaving the county to visit a casino, and then for not using her alcohol monitor. She's brought before a new judge, Elizabeth Toole, who's even less sympathetic than the previous judge.
Your actions show that you do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. And it stops today, and it stops now. I'm sentencing you to 180 days in jail. Case closed.
As for Estasio's judicial career, she was suspended without pay for her probation violations. And after further violations, the State Judicial Conduct Commission recommends Estasio be removed from the bench, which she is by the state Supreme Court. Next, we're in Denver, Colorado for a first advisement hearing. The purpose of the proceeding is for the judge to explain to the defendant why he's being held in custody and to outline upcoming legal procedures, even though the defendant has not been officially charged. Today, things are being laid out for Anthony Waller. He was taken into custody on suspicion of multiple crimes, including false imprisonment and assault on a female victim at a local motel. Judge Doris Bird then explains he'll be held in custody while the case is being investigated.
The investigation for false imprisonment, assault in the third degree, assault as a class 2 felony, and a misdemeanor charge as well in possession of drug paraphernalia.
I'd like to object first. If I'm on investigation, I thought investigation came first, then the rest came.
Right.
But before the judge can give Waller an explanation, a deputy gives him a nudge from behind.
Get on your feet. Don't turn on me. Get on your feet.
Waller, who's fully shackled in handcuffs, leg irons, and a belly chain, asked the judge for clarification.
If I'm on investigation, I thought investigation came first, then the rest came.
Deputy Brady Lovinger then places his hand on Waller's back. Lovinger claimed that because the judge had brought the hearing to a close, he was directing Waller to the clerk to sign paperwork and prevent him from stalling the proceeding. But after Waller turns towards him, the deputy grabs Waller by his uniform and belly chain and slams him face first into a metal window frame. As Waller's dragged into a hallway, he tells deputies that he's injured. Anthony Waller suffered a head wound and broken teeth from the deputy's takedown, but things did not end there. After witnessing the incident firsthand, Judge Doris Bird filed an excessive force grievance against the deputy, the death safety of anyone in the court, when Lovinger used excessive force on Waller. Following the investigation, Deputy Lovinger was suspended for 30 days by the city of Denver. Anthony Waller would later win a $50,000 suit against Lovinger and the city. A federal jury determined his constitutional rights were violated by the excessive force used against him. As for Waller's original crime, he was found guilty of third-degree assault and sentenced to 2 years in county jail.
I hope that no other family has to endure anything like we have had to. Christopher Griffey has completely destroyed my life.
Next, we're in Idaho Falls for a sentencing hearing. 36-year-old Christopher Griffey pled guilty to felony domestic battery and attempted strangulation for violently attacking his then-girlfriend while high on methamphetamine. Griffey admitted to punching, choking, and threatening to kill the victim in front of her 7-year-old son. Now, before learning his punishment, the victim shares the lasting effects Griffey's traumatic abuse had on her and her son.
Can't express completely how mine and my son's lives have been adversely affected by this incident with Christopher. Christopher completely broke me down until I didn't even know who I was anymore. I have developed a fear of the dark that is so intense, I have to sleep with the lights on. When I go to sleep, I still wake up screaming or crying.
As the victim continues, it appears her words are having a profound effect on Griffey.
I could not understand why I was treated this way by somebody who made me believe that he loved me. I could not understand what I could have possibly done to have my son and I both deserve to have these things done to us. We trusted him. I put our safety in the hands of a man that I should have never been alone with. Christopher Griffey has completely destroyed my life.
Griffey then lets the court know he is not without remorse for the damage he's done.
I'm not a monster. I'm more than willing to face this, and you don't need to give me any less time. Give me as much as you feel you need to give me. And I'll go up there and I'll face it, and I'll get as much help as I can get up there.
More than just addressing his crimes, Griffey makes an emotional apology to the victim.
Apologies are such a sham. I'm sorry for how everything went. I couldn't keep my promise that all this time I wanted to say an apology.
And despite the horrific crimes perpetrated against her, the victim interjects and validates Griffey's feelings.
No matter what you're best friend. Yeah, you're my best friend, Griffey.
Now with Griffey facing up to 25 years in prison, it's time for Judge Dane Watkins Jr.
Mr. Griffey, that the court watched you very carefully. You made some important statements of accountability and submissiveness to the judgments of this court, and I too feel the weight of this sentence. It is a dramatic thing that we're discussing upon your shoulders. I sense that from your comments. It's clear to the court that you have taken ownership. The court pronounces on the domestic violence felony matter 2 years fixed, followed by 8 years indeterminate for a unified sentence of 10 years. On the attempted strangulation, 3 years determinate with 10 years of indeterminate time.
That means Christopher Griffey's sentence will be at least 3 years and up to 13. During that time, his parole eligibility will be determined by the state parole board beginning in 2023. This is Justice Verda Colvin. In her courthouse today are 20 teens who are part of the Bibb County Sheriff's Consider the Consequences program. And she's got a few words for these troubled teens. Words they won't soon forget.
You have the ultimate experience. You be in this body bag. And the only way somebody will know you're in here is by this tag that'll have your name on it. What do you want to do?
Judge Colvin speaks directly to the teens sitting in her court to remind them that certain choices they make can bring on the consequences that may lead to trouble, jail, or even death.
Because listen to me. The way you're going, you will go to jail. Or you will end up in the spotty bag. One or two things. What do you want to do? Young ladies, whether anyone has ever told you before, you're special, you're uniquely made. Stop acting like you're trash and putting pictures of yourself on the internet. Stop being disrespectful to your parents. Care about your future. Be somebody. Anybody can be nothing. It doesn't take anything to be nothing. Be something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It certainly appears the judge's words are being heard loud and clear.
Care about yourself. The fact that you're shedding tears means you want to be better and you want to do better. Do it. The only person stopping you is you. Do better than what you've been doing. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? I don't expect to ever see the three of you all back in my courtroom like this. One day I want you to come tell me, Judge Colvin, when I got gray in my hair because I can't even color anymore because it's so much gray, I want you to come tell me, Judge Colvin, I graduated from college. You might not remember me, but you said something to me to make a difference.
And the judge is getting warmed up as this deputy steps out of the way of the judge who's on a mission.
Why would you want to do nothing? Anybody can do and be nothing. Who thinks they're better than nothing? Now, slow. Okay, put your hand out. Now, slow raising your hand. Let me tell you both something. You are special. You are uniquely made. And nobody else can do what you're supposed to do in this world. Nobody else. And if you don't do it, we won't have it.
As a member of the courtroom staff reaches for the tissues, the judge closes out her unforgettable speech with a final thought.
And when I see you all hurting, it makes me hurt too. Because I don't even know you all personally, but I love each and every one of you. And I don't want you to come in my courtroom and I have to send you next to the door at the age of 17. I don't want that. I don't want to experience that myself, and I don't want you all to experience that.
Judge Colvin says she can measure the success of the Consider the Consequences program by seeing those kids who were once in her courtroom thriving in the community today.
I'll ask my lawyer right now. Are you speaking to me?
Next, we go to a hearing in Douglas County, Georgia. The defendant is 32-year-old Zahara Fakir. She's been charged with armed robbery, burglary, and murder. The victim was 66-year-old local businessman Jerry Wheeler, who was stabbed in his home while making dinner. Wheeler was the father of a Douglas County Sheriff's Office deputy who discovered the body. Fakir didn't know the victim, and there was no apparent motive for the crime. She's in court to hear charges, and from the start, doesn't seem to appreciate the magnitude of what she's facing.
You're charged with the murder of Jerry Franklin Wheeler. You understand that?
It's not a courthouse, I understand that. I understand that this courthouse is a cursed courthouse. Yes, I understand.
Okay.
And if you're Jamie, you're not God-fearing, I'll also understand from you. And everyone else is not God-fearing. I understand that.
The judge takes the claim in stride. But as the topic shifts to legal representation, that's when things get really bizarre.
Do you have a lawyer?
I'll ask my lawyer right now.
Are you
speaking to me?
Are you going to get a lawyer?
Allah is my lawyer right now. And if you do not release me, Allah will have vengeance on you. Like he did in 2009 when he sent that flood. It's only going to get worse.
It's unclear what flood the defendant is referring to. So the judge carries on.
Well, if you cannot employ a lawyer, then you can apply to the public defender's office for an appointment of one at no cost to you.
What I said.
I'm just trying to inform you of your rights.
Now, I better be released from that Masonic courthouse.
Unfazed by Fakir,
meet and they will determine whether or not to proceed with this case. Do you understand that?
If they disbelieve, they better not proceed.
Okay. Bond will not be granted today. If you want such a bond, you can make application and have a hearing as to that matter. Do you understand?
Why can't I get a bond today?
I'm not going to grant a bond today. This is
Why?
just an initial appearance.
Why?
Because it's going to have a hearing to have the bond. Anything else?
perhaps out of frustration, Fakir moves on from the judge and begins criticizing a local news station covering the hearing.
Like the Illuminati, reptilian news channel. Really?
They're a member of the public. They can come to the courthouse like everybody.
Disbelief in public.
Thank you, Your Honor. Fakir's case eventually goes to trial. She's found guilty. Murder, armed robbery, and burglary. She's currently in a state prison with a life sentence. No chance of parole. That's it for this edition of Court Cam. I'm Dan Abrams. Thanks for watching.